Hey, greetings there, fellow makers. Welcome to Prop Live, your weekly prop and costume making Q&A session. I'm Bill, and today I'm flying solo. That's right, it's all me, all day long, and if the sort of pre-show is to be believed, I'm just going to talk about camera gear all day. That's not true. We've got some questions here already submitted from you guys, from the fans, the Prop Tarts. And we'll get to those in just a moment here. If you're watching live, which you should be, Thursdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, we do this thing. If you're watching live, then you can submit your questions right now. Go to punishedprops.com/live. There's a little form there. Send in your question, and it'll show up on my thing here, and then we'll answer it. If you have a project you're working on, you need a little help, or if you want to ask me about how I do any of the things I do, go ahead and send a question. We'd love to answer it for you. Today, let's see, what do I have to talk about? I did a video this week just kind of going over an update of some of the things I've been doing in my shop. That's, of course, over on our main YouTube channel, the Punished Props YouTube channel. I built this shelf back here behind me. This is for all my camera gear. Here, I'll do a little lean up for you. This is in here. I can keep everything nice and dust-free. Oh, sorry about that. Moving the camera around. And then this area here has all my charging equipment, and I have a drawer for batteries. Oh, and each type of battery has its own chamber, which is really nice. And more storage below there. I got a light. This I'm really happy about. You'll also notice that behind me, I used to have my 3D printers there, but they're not there anymore. I moved them into the shop underneath one of my workbenches, and then I built doors that are see-through. It's all acrylic plastic that you can see through. The hope, and I haven't done a lot of testing yet, but the hope is that the doors will keep dust out and heat in. That way the printers, especially if I'm trying to print with ABS, they'll stay nice and warm in there. There won't be any temperature fluctuations. Won't have anything peeling off. I have to do some more tests. I haven't had a chance to play with them yet since I moved them in there, but they're out of the way. I actually have table space over here, free table space. I have to hurry and go cover that with something. Yeah. So anyway, video up on the main YouTube channel there with more of our updates, more of what we've been doing lately, and a lot of that too. Like we've been buying a lot of stuff to upgrade the shop, to upgrade, you know, how we can make stuff, but more importantly, how we can film stuff, how we can make our videos better. And we have all of you guys to thank for that. We have our Twitch subscribers, we have our patrons over at patreon.com/punishedprops, and everyone who's bought stuff from our store. All of you guys make this thing that we do possible. And because you guys have been so good to us over the last year, we've been able to reinvest a bunch of that money and time into making our videos better, into upgrading our shop, upgrading our camera production, getting this little slidey wheelie thing. This holds a camera and I can get like little slider shots with it. All of that's thanks to you guys. So clearly you guys like what we're doing, and you want us to be happy and prosperous. So you've chipped in. So thank you again so much, you guys, for quite literally making our dreams come true. You guys are awesome. We love you. Keep being so awesome. The last thing I have to talk about, if you're in the Seattle area this weekend, starting tomorrow, the 13th, tomorrow's the 13th, there we go. I'll be at RustyCon 34. That's right, this is a little convention in the Seattle area. It's all about like sci-fi stuff, sci-fi and fantasy. We got a bunch of cool people being there. Some, let's see here, guests of honor, including writer Robin Hobb and artist of honor Mishala Eves, and cosplay guest of honor Bill Duran from Punished Props. So I'll be there this weekend. Brittany will be there this weekend. We're going to be on a ton of panels. We're going to be having a lot of fun. We'll have a booth. We're going to be hanging out. We'll have our books. So if you want to come say hi, want to come talk shop, go see some of our panels, or participate in the costume contest, then come on down. It's down by the airport, the SeaTac airport, it's going to be a good time. I imagine this is going to be kind of more of an intimate. It won't be like Emerald City Comic Con with 65,000 people. This is going to be, if you want a chance to like see your favorite people up close and personal, this is going to be the place to do it. So, RustyCon. Doc Steamcrunk is in the chat. That's my buddy Scott. Scott, this is going to be like in the same place where the first Steam Cons were. Our buddy Scott there went to some of the first Steam Cons in Seattle at the Airport Marriott. It's the same one. So Scott and I used to hang out there, and it was great. That's about it for announcements. We're just gonna keep making videos here. We got a bunch of cool stuff lined up for you guys for the next couple of weeks, including more Prop Live stuff. So let's dive into your questions. We've got a few of them from earlier already submitted. Once again, if you're watching live, punishprops.com/live to submit your questions. Let's grab this first one from John Chen. He wants to know, how do you gauge where to cut your release line on a one-part mold? So, designing a mold to be as useful and functional and durable as possible, there's a bit of an art to that. There's a bit of a knack to that you'll get after you try a handful of times. The cool thing about cutting a parting line on your mold is you can cut a little bit of a parting line and then see if you can get your piece out. If you can't, then you can trim it a little bit more and see if you can get your piece out. You can kind of, as my buddy Frank Ippolito would say, you can sneak up on it. But generally, if you're looking at like your mold from the side, like let's say I molded this can of Diet Mountain Dew, and the pouring spout was up here, there's a little bit, you probably wouldn't have to, but you could cut a little bit of a line up here. The rest of it should come out no problem. Although this should probably come out no problem. But imagine this was a more drastic overhang. You would just have to trim the top part right there, wherever the overhang is, and then this vertical surface should come out no problem. But again, you're not going to know until you give it a try, and you can sneak up on it. Just cut a little bit, see if you can get your piece out, cut a little bit more. Cut a zigzag line too, so that your mold halves will lock back together all nice like. And you can get a mold knife too. There are mold knives. I made mine just by heating up the end of an X-Acto blade and bending a curve into it. That way when you make a cut, it actually cuts registration into it. It's really cool. There you go, John. One more from John here. He says, how and when should you split a model into parts for molding, and how do you know when to use a 1 or a 2-part mold? Again, a lot of that stuff is something that you kind of get a knack for the more molds you make. You can't really, again, just give it a try. Start with something small and you'll learn. Now, I'll give you an example. I'll grab an action figure. I happen to have some action figures right here. Here, let's do this Han Solo. Let's use this as an example. He looks really bright because he's completely white. If I was going to mold this, right, I could just put a box around him and fill it with silicone. The spot between his legs here, the silicone would grab around that. So I would either have to make a 2-part mold or cut that off the 1-part in the 1-part mold. As I peeled it apart, I'd have to trim that. Now in this case, if you only need to make a couple of copies, then just make a 1-part mold. If you're going to try and make a whole bunch of copies, then clay it up and make 2 parts on the mold. Also, like, this gun here would be a problem. This would probably be separate. I'd probably mold and cast that separate and then glue the castings together after the fact. A lot of that stuff, it really depends on what it is you're molding, and you'll have to, I see Bio Cosplay getting really excited about action figures in the chat there. I know Sam is a big fan of action figures. Anyway, once you start making molds, you'll really get a feel for where those parting lines need to be and whether or not you should make more than 1 mold or build it in several different pieces. So take an example from Han Solo here. Actually, on this one, I can still see there's a line on his armpit, so there was a mold that probably went down his leg. I bet they did a 2-part mold on this guy. I mean, I would for sure. Let's put him back there. Here, here you go, Sam. I'll give you another action figure shot. This is Nova. And I literally bought this because of this gun, because I've built this gun before. But there's a Nova action figure for you. Let's get her posed a little bit better. I dropped the gun. Anyway, that's the gun. I built one of these a long time ago, and I bought the action figure just so I could have a tiny version of the gun. All right, Nova. Nova, you go back to where you belong. A lot of Blizzard stuff on that shelf. All right, there you go, John. Hopefully I helped you out. Good luck, and just practice. Start small. You'll get the hang. Excuse me. You'll get the hang of it. Jeez, this Mountain Dew is really gassing me up. Okay, Staple Crop Rice wants to know, how many napkins do you go through when you're weathering? I can only imagine wiping away all that brown and black paint means for an endless supply of wet paper towels, especially for large projects. When it comes to consumables in the shop, paper towels are pretty cheap. It's a lot cheaper than things like silicone and paint and resin. So I just stock up. I always have way more paper towels than I need. And I use them kind of indiscriminately because paper towels are cheap. So a lot. I'll usually what I do is I take a rectangle of paper towel and I rip it into like 4 littler sheets and I use those. I'm not like taking a whole paper towel, like wiping off something and like throwing it away. But I'll come up with a stack of like quarter size sheets of paper towel and use those. But on like a pistol or something, like this pistol right here, I don't know, I might go through like 2 or 3 sheets of paper towels. But I don't, that's not really something I'm that too concerned about. Paper towels are cheap. Thanks for the question, Staple Crop Rice. I'd like to point out too, we've got a very active chat today. I don't see you guys in there. I see a lot of regulars. I see Beer Money Props. He's very excited about Blizzard stuff. He's making Zarya's gun right now, so you got that going for you. Thank you guys for being fun and active in the chat today. You guys are awesome. You guys are cool. I see Jackie Craft. Oh my goodness, Jackie Craft is in there. Oh, and also this is a Twitch thing, but if you're a subscriber, you get a logo. It's my company logo, this one that's right down below me. And if you're like a 3-month subscriber, like Jackie is, that gets a little, or a 6-month subscriber. Oh my goodness. There's a glow around the icon. That's just a fun Twitch thing. Yeah, Phoenix Revival's here. Hello. Hi, Phoenix Revival. Hi, Brooks Creations. Hi, everybody. Andy Face. All the regulars. All right, let's keep moving on. Michael Jones would like to know, I've been trying to make Cloud's fusion sword from Final Fantasy Advent Children. Saw a video from the DIY prop shop on how to make it. I saw that too. That's a really good video. That Odin guy knows what he's talking about. He says, is it possible to sand 3 layers of EVA foam into a sword with a random orbital sander, or is there a better tool to use? If I laminate like a few layers of EVA foam together and then cut it or try and sand it, I like using a belt sander or a disc sander to do that. I've never tried a hand sander, and I don't actually own a random orbital sander. So I would say if you really need all those layers to be sanded flush, I would use something like a belt sander. That's what I would go with. I do that, and it works really well for me. Of course, we will have links to things like belt sanders in the notes for this episode if you want to go get one yourself. Thanks for the question, Michael. Let's do another one here. Alice in Wasteland wants to know, I need help making scratches, chipped paint, and blaster marks on white armor. Any advice? What colors and techniques can I use? So think about it this way. Just because the armor is white doesn't necessarily mean it's made out of something that is white, right? It could be metal armor that's been painted white. Think about what it was made of. So something that you could do that's really cool. Of course, I don't have it. My Boolean Gemini's upstairs. It's got some parts on it that's painted white. So I painted the gun silver first. Actually, I went with a darker gunmetal because that's what I figured the gun was made of. and then I masked off parts of it using a latex masking fluid, but you could use toothpaste or mustard. So I masked off the places where I wanted the chipping, and then I sprayed on the white paint over it. Once that white paint dried, I could wipe that masking fluid off, and the metallic color would be showing through. That way, it looks like the white paint chipped off and there's metal underneath. You could do the same thing with something that's supposed to look like wood. You could paint it to look like wood, then mask off your chipped areas, and then spray it with your white, and then peel that off, and it looks like the white paint has chipped down to the wood. It depends on what that armor is made of. Now, if it's supposed to be made of something that's already white, I can't think of what it like maybe porcelain. I mean, you wouldn't make armor out of porcelain, but if it was, then you really have to kind of count on the physical deformation of your piece. So you're gonna want to go in there and dent it or gouge it with like a hot knife, or I mean, it depends on what you're making your thing out of, but you could use a grinding bit on a rotary tool to like grind little slash marks or beat up pieces. That physical like deformed part will when light hits it will look sort of it'll have a texture to it. You'll see that indent, and then you could do like dark washes of like black or brown or whatever paint to make it look like dirt has got accumulated in those deeper spots. So there you go. Hopefully, Alice, that helped you with that particular problem there, and good luck with your white armor. Have fun with that one. Max wants to know, do you have any experience making miniatures or play fields? Can you recommend any techniques or resources? I'll tell you what. I don't have a ton. I painted a couple of minis for our D&D game. We used to do D&D. But I can tell you this. I have looked up, actually, for this little car that's behind me here, I looked up, what's it called? Salt chipping. So salt chipping is a technique. Here we go. This is the video. We'll put a link to this channel. Scale War Machines is the name of the channel. So we'll put a link to them in the show notes here, and I'll drop a link in the chat right now. And this is just a particular technique that I used for making chipped paint, which is really awesome, like rusty chipped paint. And this video is incredibly well produced, just really, really cool. Let's see here. Yeah, let's go back. There we go. So in a nutshell, you paint it rusty, you wet it down and put salt on the places to mask it. Then you spray your color over it, and then you rub or clean the salt off, and it leaves this chipped, rusty looking technique look underneath it, which is awesome. It looks incredible. But that YouTube channel, this Scale War Machines YouTube channel, has a bunch of different techniques specifically for model making. And these guys are really good. So, we got a couple of really good links in the chat too. Rocketman Props is recommending miniwargaming.com. And then Corlock Striker is recommending forum.reapermini.com. We'll put links to all those in the show notes, including a link to this YouTube channel. And I imagine if you just dive into that rabbit hole and just start watching the next recommended video and the next recommended video and the next recommended video, you're going to jump into a world of miniature painting that you didn't even know existed. So there you go, Max Power. Again, we'll have links to all those things in the show notes. Go check them out. Have a lot of fun. Painting tiny things is something that has caught my attention lately, and it's something I want to do more of. So there you go. Have fun with that one. Thanks for the question, Max. Let's grab another one here. Oh, HeyPatch says, I know someone who made a chipped painting tutorial. HeyPatch did one. Here, let's take a look at this. And again, we'll drop a link in the show notes. But our buddy HeyPatch in the chat. Look at that guy. What a cool shirt he has. He did something very similar. So we'll put a link into the show notes for that one too. Thanks for sharing that one, HeyPatch. You are a wizard. All right, let's move on. Wreckers wants to know, How would one go about gluing or painting PVC Sintra? I've heard it's a lot like styrene. I generally will build things if I'm making stuff out of PVC or styrene. I just use super glue. Something to think about. A lot of times these are models or props that are going to end up getting molded. So I'll mold it and cast it. So I'm not really concerned with durability. It needs to stay together pretty well. Super glue tends to work great. If you are really concerned with durability, maybe use a 5-minute epoxy. Just make sure you sand the surfaces that are getting glued together really well. As far as painting is concerned, sand it down to the finish that you want. Hit it with a spray paint primer, and then paint it however you like. You could brush acrylic paints on. You could brush enamel paints on. You can airbrush. You can spray paint. You can paint it just like any other thing. It just recommend just sand the surface to what you like. Hit it with a primer. You're good to go. You can paint it however you want. PVC Sintra, or Sintra is a brand name of foamed PVC plastic. It comes in sheets. It's really great for model making. And then styrene is very similar. It's polystyrene. It's the same stuff that styrofoam's made out of. It's just a really dense version of it with no bubbles. That will do it for Wreckers. Thank you for the question, and have fun making props out of styrene and PVC. Astartes Michael, looking for the best way to adhere smooth aluminum to high density polyethylene foam. It's part of an arm mount. Let's go to one of my favorite websites here. Thistothat.com. So you want to glue metal to foam. Now, the only downside is that there are lots of different types of foam and lots of different types of metal. But if we go to metal and we go to, it only says styrofoam. But let's see what it has to offer. Actually likes hot glue, but there's a metal epoxy or JB Weld. I really like JB Weld for anything that's metal. And an epoxy putty if you have gaps to fill. That's kind of cool too. So I might just try JB Weld if you're going to be just gluing it. That'll probably work really well. But also remember, if you can have a mechanical connection in any way, that's going to help you a lot too. So even if you just have to put pins into the metal and into the foam to connect them, as well as the glue, that's going to help you out a whole lot. If you, depending on the aesthetics of it, if you just drive some screws through it, like some machine screws through both pieces, that'll help you out even more. But it looks like what's it called? JB Weld might be your best method. Now you say smooth aluminum, but again, like I said, any surfaces that will be touching should be sanded on the foam and on the metal. Now you're not going to see those surfaces; they're going to be mated, so you can sand the crap out of them, and no one's going to know that it's all janked up. And the rest of your aluminum can get polished to a nice shiny finish. Thank you, Astartes, Michael. Rocket Man props. Rocket Man, is there a maximum amount you'd pour for a single Onyx slush cast? I'd like to make a slush cast without a pour spout. Is it viable to do the entire pour in one go? It is. I don't have a ton of experience slush casting Onyx, but I will say that I prefer to slush one good layer of Smoothcast 300 first. The reason being is that Smoothcast 300 tends to stay in a lower viscosity state for longer than the Onyx, and that'll help capture any detail that you have. I was casting some what's his name? My little robot guy, Sir Bots a lot. I was up at Frank Ippolito's shop, and he's got a giant pressure caster, and all I had on hand was Onyx. And even though I mixed the Onyx really fast, poured it, put it in a pressure pot, he still caught some tiny bubbles like on his little eye rim. It's a really thin detail, got a little bit of a bubble. So if you were to, instead of using Onyx, if you use Smoothcast 300 or slushed a layer, or even better, if you have to, you can mix up some Smoothcast 300, pour it into your mold, and then brush it into all the details to make sure that everything gets nice and filled in. Then close up your mold and then pour in your smooth cast Onyx fast and slush cast that. Now you can, I mean, when we've done helmets before, and you've seen some of our tutorials where we'll pour in some resin, slush cast it, pour in some resin, slush cast it, and do like 3 or 4 layers. You can take like a mold and fill it up like almost halfway, and if you, especially if you have a rotocasting machine, just let it go, and it'll make a perfect thing on the inside. Again, most people don't have that setup, but you can do it all in one go. If the mold is, if you can plug it and just rotate it constantly for a good long time, you don't necessarily have to do layers. But using a lower viscosity resin for that first layer will help you capture all your details a lot better. Somewhere in all of that rambling was an answer. Good luck with your next build there, Rocket Man. Let's grab another one. Thank you guys, by the way, for sending all these great questions. This one's Valissa. Valissa wants to know, I promised my cosplay Marvel Avengers group I'd build a Marvel Comics Universe Falcon for Emerald City Comic Con. I'm thinking the Winter Soldier movie version, but I really want to work in articulated foldable wings that either just switch the position so the wings don't have to always be out, but move so that I can get into doors and stuff. That's really good. So basically it would fold in and fold out. What are your suggestions for material and the simplest way to accomplish this movement? Well, this is cool. Brittany, my awesome wife, who's Lady Longshanks down in the chat, recommended the Crooked Feather right here, who did some articulated wings that look really cool. Looks like Hawk Girl style angel wings that looks like they fold out. Maybe those ones don't. There we go. Look at those folding out. That's pretty awesome. So these guys look like they've solved it, done a pretty good job of solving that problem. So you may go check them out, see if they have some sort of tutorial or behind the scenes on how they put those things together. Whatever you build your stuff out of, you're going to want to make sure that it's very, very lightweight. It might mean making a lot of that out of aluminum. Aluminum tends to have that good balance between being lightweight and being strong enough to handle the stress you're going to put on it. And you're going to have to do a lot of trial and error to get it just right. There's so many times I've tried to build something where I'm like, hey, that doesn't seem that bad. And I'll build the thing and the motion just doesn't work the way I thought it would. And then you've got to go back to the drawing board. So actually, I would pattern it all out in something like cardboard to make sure the motion is going to work the way you need it. And then once you've got that all figured out, do it in a more durable material. Someone in the chat was pointing out Soloroboto. Our buddy Steven over at Soloroboto is working on some foldable wings for his Blue Beetle costume. So I'm not sure where he is along the journey, but you might go see what he's working on for that. And good luck. Wings, we get a lot of people wanting to know how to do wings. We haven't really cracked that nut for any of our costumes over here yet. So fortunately other people have, and you can go see how they're handling it. So good luck. Wings are incredibly ambitious, and Emerald City Comic Con isn't all that far away. Good luck, Valissa. Let's grab another one. Actually, by the way, I hope we see you there. We're going to do some sort of meetup again like we did last year. So I hope we see you there, and I hope you have falcon wings, and we can give each other a high five. And it'll be awesome. Let's go. Next question. Nerdy Views wants to know, any movies or video games this year that you're looking forward to making props and costumes from? Well, I haven't played Dishonored 2 yet, but I played Dishonored 1, and I liked it a lot. And I have a feeling once I play Dishonored 2, I'm going to want to make some stuff from that game. That looks really awesome. I really like what I've seen so far from Horizon Zero Dawn. In fact, our friend Zonbi is, let me find this real quick. Zonbi is working on that costume, and she's made a lot of good progress on it. I don't think she started on any of the weapons yet. I'm interested in the weapons. But if you guys go over to YouTube, go to Zonbi, go find Grace and her awesome channel over there. Which, by the way, she just hit 10,000 subscribers. Congratulations to Grace. She's doing a video series on Horizon Zero Dawn. So she's doing a lot of leather working lately to get the leatherworking part of the costume. There it is, kind of all knocked out, and I think she's doing a bang up job so far. So go see how Grace is handling that. Keep an eye on her progress. And there's my questions. But that's it. Horizon Zero Dawn and what was the other one I said? Dishonored 2. Those are the two right now. Who knows what else will come out that I just gotta make. Thank you, Nerdy Views, for the question. Next one comes to us from Mighty Molar. What is the best way to seal in a painted foam without access to a place where I can spray paint a rattle can enamel? Couple things first, too. If you're using EVA foam armor that's going to flex at all, enamel will likely crack. Enamel dries very brittle. I would use flexible acrylic paints if you can. Now, if that piece is going to be not flexing at all, I wouldn't worry about it, but enamels will crack. So just an FYI. You can brush sealers on. You can brush whatever paint you use on. But you can get like clear acrylic, or even better, varnish. You can just get varnish, which I like to use for sealing foam. You can get just a jar of that or a can of that from the art store, or I'm sure somewhere on Amazon. And then you just brush it on, which I've done before. So if you can't spray stuff, you can totally brush stuff. So that's what I would recommend. Go get yourself a jar. Let's look here. A jar of varnish. Varnish dries really fast, and it is very flexible, which I like a lot. Let's see here. Let's grab. Yeah, there you go. Liquitex. Liquitex makes a varnish, and I can get 128 ounces of it for $80. Gloss varnish. You could probably get it in a high gloss, satin, matte. Let's do a matte varnish. Maybe I only need 32 ounces of it. $25, bargain right there. We'll put a link to this in the show notes. That's exactly what I would use. Let's drop that in the chat too. All the varnish you could ever want in every type of finish. There you go, Mighty Molar. Have fun with your foam prop or costume build. Well, I'll tell you what, gang. There might be a couple more questions coming in, but I'm at the end of all the questions in the notes for now. We have a little bit of time left. So why don't we try something with the chat? I see you guys right above me here, or down here. You guys who are watching live, why don't we do some rapid fire questions? Whatever you want to ask me, just go for it, but make it like a yes or a no or a this or that question, and I will answer them rapid fire style. You just have to make sure you tag @PunishedProps in the chat so that I see it, and I will answer the rapid fire questions. While you guys are getting those cooking, we got another one over here. Dr. Constantine wants to know, have you considered revisiting the Destiny Hunter knife as a 3D print project? Nope. I feel like I've tackled that, and other people have tackled it really well. So that's it. I'm probably not going to do that again. I very rarely want to redo things or do things that other people have wanted to, or other people have already accomplished. All right. Coral X Striker says, Ultimate Keyblade, do you want to build it? No, I've never played Kingdom Hearts, and I don't really have any draw towards the Keyblades. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just not my jam. Jax Prop says, best way to seal MDF for painting. You can actually seal MDF with super glue and then sand it nice and smooth. You will go through a lot of super glue though. Andy Face says, favorite color? Blue. I like blue. Gloss finish or matte, depends on what you're making. Sometimes the same prop will have lots of different finishes on it. If you need it to look shiny and wet, you go with a gloss. If you don't, you go with a matte. Best airbrush for a beginner under $100. That came to us from Doc Steamcrunk. Scott, how do you not have an airbrush yet? There's some kits. Let's see here real quick. I can grab a link. We have a kit on Amazon. I think it's like 70 or 80 bucks that comes with everything. I'll grab the link real quick. That would be Airbrush. Whoops. Find Airbrush. There, dropping it in the chat. Beginner Airbrush Kit. And that one is... I'll share on the web browser. There it is. This guy here, Masters Airbrush. It's $100. It's exactly what you need. It comes with 3 airbrushes. Boom. All right. Back to the questions. Right. Goal video stream for 2017. I haven't done that yet. I do have my goals. I have kind of gone over them myself. I don't know if I'm going to stream that this year. I think you guys got it covered. You have your own goals. Make them happen. I'll do my own thing. I'm going to probably just keep it to myself this year. You guys got it. Let's see here. What Max Money AWA, what's your number one bucket list cosplay prop? I have a lot of them. I don't know what the number one is. I'm going to stick with my go-to, which is the Corbin Dallas's apartment, full-size apartment. Person you most want to meet. Tell you what, I'm really jealous. My friend Joel, the 3D printing nerd, got to meet Simone Yurts, whatever her last name is. Yeah, Simone. I would like to meet Simone. She seems cool. You're right says, do you do your own website stuff? Do I ever? I sure do, and I believe it shows. Andy Face says, can you do us a little dance? No. HeyPatch says, laser cutter or 3D printer? I would go with the 3D printer. If you can swing it, get both. But man, the 3D printer is really cool. Lundygrass says, what beer do you have in stock? I am currently out of beer, and I'm pretty sad about that. But I did get a bottle of bourbon to make Manhattans, so I got that going for me. Maker Geek says, lager or IPA? Lately, I have been feeling lagers. Lagers are feeling pretty good. Werewolf says, movie franchise you'd want to build props for? I hate to be cliche, but Star Wars would be pretty awesome. Rocketman says, how much is Mass Effect Andromeda going to absorb your life? Well, I've already pre-ordered the game and the little radio-controlled Nomad. So if that's any indication, then a lot. Let's keep going here. Let's see, we got a handful more. New cosplay for Emerald City Comic Con from Nerdy Views. I haven't started anything yet, so we'll see what happens. We got to figure that out. Let's see here. The Force Sensitive Mando says, wanting to paint my costume Mando kit, but paint doesn't seem to stay without smear. That's not really hold on. That's not really a rapid fire question. I'm going to put it in the show notes real quick. I'll get back to that one. Travis says, do you remember the strange guy in the Russian uniform at TwitchCon? That was me, and sorry about being tongue-tied. It was cool meeting you and your very kind wife. It was cool meeting you too, Travis. I do remember you, and you're a cool guy. Jackie Graf says, are you ever going to get LASIK? Me and Zonbi both did this year. I have a sad story about LASIK. I went to get LASIK when I graduated from college. That was going to be my mom's present to me and my twin brother. Turns out I have very thin corneas. I'm not a good candidate for LASIK. So instead, we went to a liquor store. We went to Canada to do it, so we went to the duty-free store on the way through, picked up some booze, went home, and drank away our sorrows. Andy Face says, what's your white whale of props? Something you want to make, but it's too tough to do. Honestly, I can't think of anything. I don't have like Adam Savage has the ZF1 that he's been toiling on for 10 years. I don't have a thing like that. Not yet, anyway. Yui Twitch says something about Golden Axe. I like Golden Axe. Let's see. Maker Geek, how would you attach lightweight minimal leg armor? That's not really a rapid fire question. I'm gonna put that in the show notes. Let's see here. Andy Faye says, I remember you didn't do that after posting. I can't remember what that was in reference to. All right. What was your major? Your Rate wants to know. I was a computer art major with a focus on 3D modeling and animation. All right. Cool. Let's grab some more questions from the show notes over here. Neko Justa says, how would you paint the cheap 3D glasses you get from a movie theater? What paint would you use? I would probably sand them really well, and then if you're going to spray paint it, use something like Krylon Fusion. That attaches to plastic really well. But no matter what, I would probably put a primer layer down first and then paint it however. Thank you, Nico Jesta. All right, Force Sensitive Mando wants to paint his costume Mando kit, but paint doesn't seem to want to stay on without smearing off. Whatever it's made out of, and I just kind of the same thing with those 3D glasses. Sand it nicely and then go with a primer and then go with whatever your paint is. Know that if you're layering paints, that some paints don't get along with other paints depending on how you put them on. In fact, Harrison Cricks did a really good breakdown of that in his painting book, which is available at punishedprops.com. Maker Geek wanted to attach lightweight leg armor. It depends on the design of the costume. If it's lightweight enough, you can just put snaps on your clothing part and put the other side of the snap on your armor and just snap it on your legs. So depends. You'll see costumes where they have straps holding the leg armor on, like from a video game, and it just doesn't work. Your legs are tubes and your armor wants to slide down. So I'll do armor like that where it has the straps, but they're mostly for show, and they will either Velcro or snap to my pants. Let's see here. Mighty Molar wants to know what my biggest pet peeve is in a prop. I think mostly it's the surface finish. If you're trying to replicate something like a gun, let's say a space gun, that's supposed to look like it came off of a production line and it was manufactured in some way, it was machined, or it came out of a mold, that surface finish is going to look a certain way. It's going to be nice and smooth, or it's going to have like a brushed metal finish on it, or maybe some sort of like molded texture on there. If you do a lot of like filling Bondo work on there and that doesn't get sanded smooth and that texture's kind of lumpy, then in my brain, when I see that, I immediately, the fiction is lost on me. I immediately see the work that went into it, and I don't see what the final product was supposed to be. That's probably my biggest pet peeve. Good question, Mighty Molar. Let's see here. Another batch of quickfire ones. DLC Props is throwing a curveball at me, saying Fallout or Skyrim. And I will be completely honest about this. I flip-flop between sci-fi and fantasy. So I'll go through a period of like 6 months where I'm like super into sci-fi. And right now I'm kind of into sci-fi. So I'll probably stick with Fallout. But every once in a while I'll see someone playing Skyrim and I'm like, hey, I should fire that up again. Cool. Let's go here. Let's see. Scott wants to know if I'm ever going to come to a convention in Kansas City. I want to. I haven't been invited to any yet. That's the real linchpin. If I can get invited to one, then that's awesome. Let's grab another question. This is from Steven Smith. Steven says, I love your books and videos. This is the first time I was able to watch a live stream. All right. High five. Thanks for joining us. I'm working on a cosplay for a friend here in Arlington, Washington, for armor on an anime character. Their character's name is Deedlit. Not sure what that's from. I'll look it up. We plan on using EVA for her chest armor, but we're thinking on using my large vacuum former and high impact polystyrene for the pauldrons because they are thin. What's your opinion for the pauldrons? I mean, I like making armor out of foam. That's me, though. Let's see a picture here. Okay, this character has some giant wacky pauldrons. Let's see here. There we go. There's a picture of Deedlit. It's a very simple form. I would make it out of foam because that would be a lot less work than making a vacuum form buck and vacuum forming it. But that's just me. I like working in foam. So let's go with EVA foam for that one. And good luck. Good luck, Steven. And thanks for joining us on the live stream. Welcome to the Welcome to the, what were we calling it? Welcome to the toaster. All the prop tarts joining you. And people are educating me in the chat that Deedlit is from Record of Lotus War. I am familiar because I watched anime when I was a teenager. A very long time ago. Lon says, for an either or question, Space Gun or, oh, who are we kidding? You're right. I do always default to Space Gun. Whew. All right, cool. Oh, Corlock wants to know if it's Space Gun or Unbreakable Sword from Wheel of Time. Well, I'm going to confess that I never read the Wheel of Time. So I apologize, and I'm going to stick with Space Gun. Cool. All right. We've made our way through just about all the questions. Actually, all the questions that we got earlier in the day. And I'm just going to hang out with the chat for a little while longer here. Grab any more questions. If you guys have any more quick, shorter questions, just dump them in the chat. Tag @PunishedProps. And we will... I will answer them for the next 10 minutes. Chris Pixel says, did you finish your kit bash gun yet? No, I didn't finish my kit bash kit. I did not finish my kit. Sorry. No, I put a little bit of work into that the other night, and then now it's on the shelf, and I worked on other stuff. That's something I think I'm going to sort of chew at a little bit here and there when I get the impulse, but I haven't done any more work on it. Max Money AWA says, is Sintra PVC sheet easy to mold with a heat gun? It's just the sort of thing. The more you work with it, the better you'll get with it. You're not going to get it right away. If you want to see what's possible, go check out FabricatorDjinn. Our buddy Caleb does everything in PVC sheet. Space Gun or Master Sword? Space Gun, come on. Bio Cosplay says, what's your favorite cartoon? Can we go with the old X-Men cartoon? Yeah, we'll go with that. Let's see. Are you excited yet for DragonCon 2017? Chris Sostom wants to know. I'm always excited for DragonCon. No joke. At least once a month leading up to DragonCon, I have a DragonCon dream. And it's usually like one of those things where I'm totally at DragonCon. Like I think I am, but it doesn't look like DragonCon, but it feels like it's DragonCon. That happens to me at least once a month. And then the closer we get, the more frequently I have DragonCon dreams. Space Gun or lightsaber? That's a pretty good question. I have a lightsaber. I have one right here. At the ready. Bam. I might have to go with lightsaber on that one. Braxton says, when will you be able to do a video on duct tape mannequins? That's on the list. We really do want to do one. We haven't had a reason to make one in a while. But we did just do a plaster mannequin. And that video will be up in the next couple weeks. We did that with our buddy Core Geek. Look forward to that. We will also do a duct tape one. Don't you worry. Let's see here. Wrecker says, have you built a death ray gun? If not, any plans to build one? No, all of my props are non-functional. Nerdy View says, vinyl cutter recommendations. The silhouette cameo is really good. Lady Longshanks linked to FabricatorDjinn in the chat. Very good. Everyone go over there and follow Caleb because he's awesome. Let's see here. How would I 3D a spiral for a like 3D model? Maybe. Let's try and figure this out. Oh, okay. I don't know. You're just gonna have to do some research. When it comes to like specific 3D modeling questions, your best bet is to like look on YouTube and see what someone may have a specific technique over there. Thank you for that question there, Tran Otaku. Rocketman says, when are you going to finally watch Steven Universe? I didn't realize that it was required. I'm sorry. I didn't know that it was an obligation. So I don't know. I don't know if I ever will. And again, I apologize for being a terrible nerd. I did just watch 3 episodes of the Grand Tour last night, and that show is amazing. Let's see. Force Awakens or Rogue One? They're both pretty great. I think I gotta go with Force Awakens, though. Let's see here. That came from Doc Steam Crunk. And thanks for joining us today, Scott. You're an awesome dude, and I miss you. I haven't seen you in a long time. Otherworld Cosplay says, just wanted to say thanks for the videos because my Destiny Warlock is done and the first cosplay and prop work I'm really proud of. That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that, Otherworld Cosplay. You are a champion. Ferret IXIX says, thanks for the advice on the pauldrons. You're welcome. DLC Prop says, how do you organize the videos you want to make for your channel? Poorly. We do have a calendar, and we try and plan out. So like the next, at least the next month to month and a half of videos are actually all planned out. But usually it depends on what projects we have coming up or what opportunities we have. So for example, our buddy, Eric over there at Core Geek said, hey, I need to make a torso casting. Can you help me out? And I was like, dude, let's make a video. So that was just the, an opportunity, and we jumped on it, and then we filmed it. And now I have to do all the editing, and get it ready to go live. Not this Monday, probably the next Monday. That's how we do that. It's kind of organic, like the way we pick videos and plan them out. So that's about it. All right, cool. Yes. Poorly. It's the same way. Bill, how do you manage your website? By the seat of my pants. That's how I do it. Not very well. Whew. All right, that was good. Thank you guys so much for participating. The Force Sensitive Bando says, any chance you'll be willing to come out? You will come out to the East Coast this year. I am planning on going to New York City for Construct. Let's see if they've updated the website. I don't think it is up yet, but that's in May. I'll be in the East Coast. Yeah, they have updated it. Here we go. I'll drop a link in the chat. So May 19th through 21st. I'm planning on being there at Construct. That's the only one I have locked in right now. But if you guys... Oh, yeah. Me and Brittany are listed there. Look at that. Awesome. Thanks, Alyssa, for getting that all set up. But other than that... Oh, you're in Michigan. The best thing you can do is go to punishprops.com, like I'm doing right now. We'll go on a journey together. And go up to the top where it says convention appearances. Oh, I need to add Construct to this list. And here you can have, this is important, contact the people at the event where you want us to show up and have them get a hold of us using this form. And hopefully we can work something out to get us out there. So there you go. That's the best way to do it. Let's see. We have a couple more things in the chat. Oh, Corlock Striker says that he will see us in May. That's awesome. That is awesome. All right. Let's see. What else do we have? Cool. That's about it. And I just need to make a note to remember to update our convention appearances page to include Construct, which I am very excited about. Okay. That's it. That's enough. Enough questions. Thank you guys for playing along. Thanks for sending the questions and bombarding me with the rapid fire questions in the chat. You guys are awesome. And I'm going to end this thing. Once again, I will be at RustyCon this weekend. If we go check it out here in Seattle, right by the airport Marriott. You can go check out some other cool people like Robin Hobb. And we're doing a ton of panels. We'll have a booth. Let's see here. Links, registration. So, membership pricing. $60? $60 gets you the whole weekend. That's a bargain right there. That is a bargain. So head on over there. If you are local to Seattle, please come hang out with us. It's going to be awesome. That's about it. Other than that, just go check out some of our videos on the old YouTube channel. Thanks for being awesome in the comments and in the chat. And I am going to end this thing, but it was great hanging out with you guys. We'll see you all next week at another wonderful edition of Prop Live with an awesome guest next week. She's in the chat right now, and it's going to be really fun. So definitely tune in next week. We'll see you all. Toodaloo.